to you. Well, some of our election coverage disrupted by this most incredible developing story. 4 people being killed, 1 person severely hurt after a fire broke out in a gun store in Glenanda, south of Joburg. Emergency Services spokesperson Russel Meiring says a 15-year-old boy among those killed. For the latest on this, live now to our reporter, Zaniko Mahlaba, who's tracking the story for us. Zaniko, good afternoon to you. What do we know about what happened in this gun shop?
Well, Stephen, we just got here at about 5 minutes ago. Obviously, the scene is still very, very sensitive. It's very protected. We tried when we got here, when we were trying to gain access to this facility, we found the shopping center manager who was very, very emotional. She's still very, very emotional. So she stated to us that right now they are still trying to gather together as much information as they can. What they know so far is that, as you mentioned in the intro, that 4 people have lost their life, and 1 person is critically injured at a health facility around this facility. So I'm just going to step out of shot so that my colleague Takofat can give you some visuals if that is possible. Obviously, we'll try to be very, very sensitive because the pathology vehicle is still around. Obviously, the family members also are still near the actual scene where the bodies of the people who have lost their lives were being covered by SAPS Galia. So that's the situation here. So what we know so far, Stephen, is that yes, those 4 people have died, and as we walked in, we saw and we identified some bodies that were still in this vicinity on scene. As you can see, I'm not sure if Sekofat can give you the picture of the pathology, but because of this emergency vehicles, we can't give you that picture. And it's a very, very sensitive issue. As you can see, those people there, down there by those ambulances, are some family members and also some friends. We've got members, investigations, and people from forensics from the South African Police Service. So that's how things are, Stephen. Speaking to the facility manager earlier on when we got here, she was just telling us that she does not know much, and the investigations are yet to go deeper into the specific details as to what had happened. One of the people, the person who's critically injured, who's in hospital right now from the 4 that have lost their lives, is the owner of the gun shop itself. So she's saying the shop owner is currently going through some operations as a facility, so that can give you an indication of how serious those injuries are. We're just hoping for the best, Stephen, at this point.
Means, Nico, the most terrible story developing, as you say. Got to be very sensitive on how we report on it, as we say, but there'll be a huge number of questions as to how a fire like this could start in a shopping center. I mean, we hardly hear of something like this.
Yeah, those are some of the questions, Stephen, I tried to put across to the manager, but understandably she was distraught. She was very, very emotional. She didn't have much to say. She was also still on the phone speaking to, I think, maybe some shop owners, explaining why the facility or the center had to be closed down, but also trying to engage with family members about what she knows in regards to what actually happened and how did the fire actually start, and as far as the emergency services and also the safety measures around this facility, how did it get to a point where people are actually people are losing their lives. Well, when emergency medical services got to the scene, people have lost their lives. They were still alive at the time, and they tried to do some CPR and emergency care to try to save their life. But unfortunately, a few minutes later, they gave in. They could not hold it together anymore. So that's what had happened. On my right-hand side, Stephen, I'm going to step out of shot again just to give you a sense of some staff members who are still around. If Takofat can pan around, there are some people across the street. Those are the people who were asked to leave the center. So they are still shocked, and we've got some bystanders as well across the road by the garage who are watching over, trying to get a sense of what had happened. Because I would imagine that no one would imagine that such a tragedy would occur in a place such as this one. And also, just to give you a sense of who we are, this is one of the posh areas in the south of Johannesburg. So you will understand that as far as health facilities, as far as emergency services, it won't be difficult to gain access to this area. Everything has all the basic stuff in terms of the infrastructure of the roads that can give you access to this facility, but also the issue of safety within the center itself. I've been trying to look around to see if there are any fire extinguishers nearby. I've been struggling to identify one. So those are some of the issues, Stephen, I think will need to be probed as we go into the evening. So right now the scene is very, very sensitive. Family members are very emotional, and obviously emergency services are also here. People from the forensics department of the SAPS, they're still here trying to get a sense of what had actually happened. The bodies have not left the scene. They're still inside that product event, Stephen.
Zaniko Mhlaba, thanks very much indeed for that live update from Glenanda, south of Joburg. Just the most terrible story on this Friday afternoon.